Good afternoon, good morning. It's Vicchi Oleski. I'm here with Sybil Starr. I'm founder of Sonoma County Healing Academy. Happy New Year. We wanted to check in with Sybil. She's our astrologer. It's a few days into the new year 2019. We're heading into a new moon, solar eclipse.
And then a full moon lunar eclipse, both in this month.
So tell us what the
boy.
down is, or what the up is.
Well, it's the good news and the bad news. You know, this first solar eclipse happens on January 5th. Oh, I wish I could remember what time. It's around 6 in the evening, but I can't remember the exact
It's
time.
tomorrow.
Oh, wait a minute, I've got it here, I think. No, I don't have it here. Tomorrow in the early evening, around 6-ish. And it's not visible here in the United States. It's only visible in Asia. And it's a partial solar eclipse. And normally they're not as powerful as a total eclipse. But this one is particularly powerful due to the planets involved. We have 5 planets in Capricorn and the South Node.
Wow.
So we have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Saturn, and Pluto. We have Saturn and Pluto both conjunct the eclipse on both sides of it. The eclipse is around 15 degrees of Capricorn. Saturn is around 11 degrees of Capricorn. Pluto is around 20 degrees of Capricorn. So it's really a big bundle of what we would call a stellium. So it's a power-packed Capricorn solar eclipse. Now, solar eclipses always bring some kind of change, and they bring to light things that have been hidden. Okay, Capricorn is the sign that has the most to do with government, with business, with finances. It has to do with all kinds of institutions. And so we can really expect some big changes. And as we know, we've got this new Congress coming in, and Capricorn has a lot to do with accountability. With all of this energy in Capricorn coming in, it just feels like everybody it's time to be held accountable. Capricorn has a lot to do with reaping what we sow.
It would seem that, given that this is also a new moon and the beginning of the year, the accountable piece feels awkward because most people are looking at something new that they want to bring in, and accountability kind of reminds you, like, well, what are you accountable for? And it's a different lens almost.
Well, but the other piece is that Saturn and Capricorn are also about manifestation. Okay. So it's kind of like reaping what you've sown in what new beginnings you are wanting to create.
Oh, gotcha.
It's like let's say you want to, you're starting a new aspect of your business. The accountability is what led you up to this, and are you in alignment? Have you paid your rent? Have you done what needs to be done to line everything up to make this new business a success?
Gotcha.
It's more than the visioning phase. It is the actual manifestation, creation phase, and are you lined up with all of the pieces that need to be in place to start the new business?
Hence Capricorn.
Hence Capricorn.
Saturn.
Right. And the thing is, Capricorn, at least in the northern hemisphere, is the time of the year, the dark time of the year. And our ancestors had to really prepare for this time of year. It's like, how well did you prepare for this dark time of the year? And yes, there is the new birth of the sun, the winter solstice, which is, planting the seed of what is to come, the new beginning. And did you prepare well enough to really make this happen?
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
How well put. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. It helps helps me.
Yeah.
So I hope it's helping
Yeah.
the listeners. That's really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's Capricorn has to do with wisdom, and it's the wisdom of living. It's not any wisdom that can be obtained in a book. Capricorn is the energy that improves with age. So it is the wisdom of experience. And the other piece is that the planet Uranus is in a square to a lot of this Capricorn energy, and it's in Aries. So it's about moving boldly forward with fresh new ideas. And so there's actually a challenge. There is did you prepare well enough? Did you do what you need to do? And being willing to take a risk to move forward into something different. What has worked in the past is probably not going to work as well now. So you do take your experience with you and be open to moving boldly forward. It kind of reminds me of Star Trek. That.
And with the partial eclipse, isn't that about changing patterns?
It is about changing patterns.
Okay.
It is
So
about
a little
changing.
extra
Right.
help there.
Right. And the thing is about Capricorn too that I want to say, and with Saturn and Pluto involved, is that it can trigger some fear. Okay, because as we change patterns, the fear has a tendency to come up, and we get afraid. And so the advice, the guidance is to, when you know fear is coming up, be prepared for it so that you can move through it, so that you can take some bold new steps and move forward. Yeah, so they're both there. It's two very different energies, but they're both there.
Right. And you have to get through the fear,
Right.
accept the fear, go through the fear.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I kind of see a good correlation of that, of what's happening in our new Congress. With all these new people coming in, we have, so many women and, racially diverse, a lot of diversity, and coming in with bold, fresh, new ideas, and coming up to those that are more experienced, who's been in Congress. And there is kind of a shifting, a dance they're doing to move forward with these new ideas, and based on also some experience. It's like you don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater, and yet some of the old ways just aren't feasible anymore. They're not working. We need new, fresh ideas.
What I'm also hearing you describe right now is that square.
Right.
And we've talked about it in class, we've talked about it here on our interviews. That square is a hard
Right.
hard tension.
Right.
You don't want to break it, but it does help to move things.
Right. And squares are about integration. That is the goal, but it is very challenging. But it's very dynamic, and it's kind of like those internal things that drive us. It's a driving energy.
Right.
It's a driving force to accomplish things, to get things done. Aries and Capricorn both want to get things done. It's just, how do you organize your energy in a way to move forward, to get things done, and listen to your inner wisdom and guidance. Yeah.
It's a lot of gears.
Yeah, it's a lot of
there.
gears. Yeah.
Anything around after then?
Yes, then we have the lunar eclipse, which is on January 20th. And it's actually visible here, and I have some times here for
very good.
us here in Santa Rosa. The actual eclipse, it starts around 6:36 p.m. Its maximum will be at 9:12 p.m. and it ends around 11:48 p.m. So it's about a 5-hour process, and the moon will turn completely red. It is a blood moon, and it's also what's called a supermoon, which means it's very close to the earth, so will look very big, very powerful. The moon impacts our emotions,
Right.
and it often the solar eclipse impacts more in our outer world, whereas the lunar eclipse impacts more in our inner world. Okay, in our personal
energies of the
Right.
sun, which is more external.
Right, and the
And the
moon,
moon,
which is more internal. And so it happens at around 0 degrees of Leo, so just barely into Leo. And Leo has a lot to do with the inner child, has to do with creativity, it has to do with joy, it has to do with fun, and even more so than the solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse often brings things to light that have been hidden. And it could be just, the moon has a lot to do with happiness. It's just like really coming to light about something that will make you happy and bring you joy, and maybe you didn't realize it, or maybe where you've not been having it. And your heart really wants it. Your heart needs to be fed on some level. And some clearness, some awareness comes to light about what that's all about.
Any type of practical exercises or meditations you want to pass on?
Well, I just want to say one more thing, and that is the planet Mars is also in its own sign of Aries.
Okay.
And it's going to be, Mars is what's called an activator. And when Mars, so Mars is going to be in an exact square to this eclipse on January 23rd.
Okay.
And so it may be the eclipse kind of goes along kind of slowly, but then around the end of January is when things really open up. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would just...
These things are happening.
Right.
But then with Mars coming on board,
Right. Then it
has
really...
the energy of activating these
Right. It's like
changes.
it's like
possibly.
kind of like when you add cayenne to a recipe, how it kind of explodes. Okay.
That's Mars.
Yeah, that's Mars. That's
Mars
Mars.
in
It's an
Aries.
activator. It's a catalyst.
Yeah.
And so I guess maybe as far as a practical exercise, I would say Capricorn teaches us patience and to view things through the long haul and to not let yourself get discouraged. Things are, in Capricorn, everything needs to line up. I always refer to it as like putting together an IKEA project.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like there are directions and you just have to listen. And when we don't listen and we forge ahead too quickly, like with the Aries coming in, we have to go back to square one and
Yeah.
see what step we missed. There are no
What
missteps.
little bolt didn't
Right.
get fitting
But-
properly.
right.
We've
And-
all
and-
been there.
Right. And so just know that this is the energy of doing it right, doing it well. And if we get ahead of ourselves so to not get ahead of yourself and get too excited, you may have these big bold ideas which are formulating, but Saturn is the mechanics of how to put it together
Yeah.
and how to do it.
Blessed. That was
Yeah.
so beautiful. Right on.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and so it's a big month. It's big energy, and there's a lot of teachings, especially around maturity and accountability, and that's really how we move through this energy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, wonderful. It's
Yeah.
a good, great New Year beginning.
yeah.
Great. Sybil has classes at Sonoma County Healing Academy. The
First Thursday of every month is Star Talk, and we talk about what's happening now, or as a friend of mine said, it's called WTF is happening in the stars. It's like, what's going on? And so anyway, at first Thursday of every month, if you want to know what's happening, come to my class at Sonoma County.